Brian, you speak about the past. Obviously, I remember 2004, and I was talking to Doc Ali Bacha outside when Nelson Mandela wrote a special letter to you to want to, bring the West Indies national team here. Have the West Indies Cricket Board learned their lessons? Because it doesn't seem that way. When will it come to a point where they value their players more? Because the West Indies cricket players are the ones representing their nation and obviously going out there and making the nation proud.
Yes, it's nice to say that. I'm not going to be 100% critical of the West Indies Cricket Board. What I believe is the problem is communication. There is no great communication between the employer and the employee. And there is a union, the West Indies Players Association, that handle matters. But I believe that you have to have a very close relationship with your players. These are the ones that are going to represent you. These are the ones that, if you make a mistake, they might forgive you and go on and do things. But if the relationship is strained from the very start, then it opens up anything. Anything could happen. And we are being affected by it now, and hopefully it can be sorted as quickly as possible.
I want to talk about Nelson Mandela. When he wrote that letter to want to bring you here, how did it feel knowing that such a great icon wrote you a letter saying, Brian Lara and company, we want you to tour South Africa?
Well, it's a simple. It was a fait accompli. It's not a letter you're going to ignore. And I remember the occasion very vividly. And I think we had a meeting the minute we got the letter. It's 2-3 o'clock in the morning when I got a call from Courtney, and the team met, and we packed our bags, and all negotiations, everything was over. I don't know if the West Indies Cricket Board felt that they won, but I know that a letter from Madiba, from the great late Nelson Mandela, was enough to tell us, boys, get on the plane and get out there, no matter what the situation is. And it was as simple as that.
Let's touch on the current West Indies side. I think one of their star players right now is Sunil Narayan. He's obviously playing for the Cape Cobras in the current Ram Slam competition that will be happening. When looking at this West Indies side and the tour to South Africa, do you think they can challenge the Proteas, and obviously looking forward to the World Cup also?
Well, first of all, it's going to be difficult in the Test arena. I believe that the longer version of the game, we're still not at the level that we should be at. But in the one-day game, we definitely have the ingredients. We have the players. The individual talent we do have. Chris Gale, Pollard, Bravo Brothers, Sunil Narayan, who you just spoke about. If they're going to pull it together as a team, I think it's necessary to include all 13 or all 14 players that are going to be here, to know the importance they are within the team. Because when these stars don't perform, you're gonna call on somebody that sits in the background, and if he has that know-it-all or the ability to do so, then we'd see. But I think we could definitely challenge the Proteas here, and I believe that you're seeing in this series coming up, two of the favourites for the World Cup.
Brian, I don't know if you've been watching the Proteas lately. I think they've been unbeaten in the ODI series since India toured last year. They've always been labelled as the chokers. I remember you playing against them, you guys knocking them out in 1996 in the subcontinent. When looking at the current side led by AB de Villiers, do you feel that they have a chance to finally get that monkey off their back? I
believe so. And I believe that there is some sort of a history, that could replay itself. I played in the World Cup in 1992 when South Africa was robbed in the semi-finals with the rain interruption and with Duckworth Lewis having to score, 21 or 22 in a ball or 2 balls. I can't remember the exact equation. But I sense that going back to Australia, going back to that country 22 years later, if I was to say that, other than the West Indies, I'd maybe like to see South Africa hold the World Cup. Touching
on the World Cup, it's ironic that they say the subcontinent sides generally struggle, but the last team to win there was Pakistan. When looking at the World Cup, who do you see as the possible favourites, and who do you see as the possible dark horses?
Dark horses. First of all, I would go with, I don't know if Pakistan is a dark horse, but they're a team that, subcontinent, you'd think that Australia might be difficult conditions for them, but they seem to come up with the goods every single time. So I would never rule out a Pakistan cricket team. In terms of, for me, the host nation, even though the records for the host nation has not been great, India being the only country to win it, Australia is going to be tough to beat at home, and knowing fully well that they had the opportunity 22 years ago, they did not do it. It's come full circle again in their direction. Hopefully they can do it. But South Africa for me would be the favorite, just because of their stats in terms of their unbeaten run and the players' versatility, the ability to play in any playing condition around the world, and that's what they have.